came from a musical family. Yes, I did. My mother was a very gifted singer. My dad was a violin player as a young child, but none of my family are actually professional musicians. So a musical family, but not professional musicians. I am, yeah. I went to the. I had music lessons all my life from day one, basically. I started when I was 5 and had lessons pretty much all my life. Attended the Conservatory of Music in Vienna, in Austria. That's where I'm from originally, and the Music Academy in Vienna, and took lots of private lessons all my life. So yeah. I saw a drummer on television when I was 4, and the drummer was the only person in the band that I saw on TV sitting down, and that intrigued me. Everybody else had to stand up, and I was like, why? He can sit down, that's cool. He seems to be in control and in charge. And the show started with a big drum fill, and everybody's looking at the drummer counting off the band, and he seemed to be in control and have authority over what was going on, and that kind of intrigued me. And then that registered with me for the first time on TV, and then I saw a drummer like a few days later playing in a local church, and I stood right in front of the bass drum, and that power and volume impressed me, and I just wanted to do it too. I wanted to be noisy as well. That's what basically started it all. Ringo Starr, Buddy Rich, Billy Cobham, drummers, American rock and roll drummers from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. A lot of 70s British rock drummers, Ian Pace, Mitch Mitchell, Tony Williams also, and then I went through years of having favorite drummers from different styles of music: Stuart Copeland, Max Roach, all the great rock drummers, and I picked favorite drummers for each style of music that I liked. And I still like all drummers. I was never very picky or purist about styles of music. Everything inspires me. Everybody inspires me. I mean, everybody who has a certain level of creativity. I like every drummer, or every musician for that matter, is individually interesting to me. Everybody has a slightly different feel, slightly different approach, slightly different sound, and I try to absorb everything and steal from everybody. I get inspired by people who have absolutely no technique but a great feel, and I get inspired from super technical monster drummers. And today it could be anybody. It could be a local guy down at a local bar, or it could be guys like Virgil Donati, or Chris Bryan, or Grant Collins in Australia, or Vinnie Colaiuta, Terry Bozzio, anybody who's got a creative output. Practice. That's the magic word. That's always the key. In order to improve on your instrument, you gotta spend that time in your practice room and hone your skill individually, and then apply that skill that you honed individually by yourself in a musical context. Play with as many musicians as possible. Go out there and try everything, but it requires that homework. So practice, practice, practice. Yes, it was. I wanted to play as many styles as possible. I wanted to work in different situations with different people. I was always interested in being, all-around drummer, and my musical taste is very eclectic. I like all styles of music, and I was always very happy to work in different markets of the music industry, not just in the rock industry or just pop or jazz or whatever it is. I always wanted to take all these styles of music, mesh them up a little, and play more eclectic styles and work in different niche markets of this industry. So, and I wanted to record as much as possible with many different bands. So I ended up for many years being a session player, and I still am to a certain degree today. And always I wanted to write my own music and be my own boss, if possible. But the music industry has changed, and today I'm looking for a band, of course. It's hard to describe, but I think we all know that the industry has changed a lot, and sessions aren't you just simply can't get as much work as you used to get as a drummer in the 80s, for example. So I do write a lot of my own music now, and I tend to be more involved with with other musicians on a sort of band level, collaborating, co-writing, co-producing, etc. Yeah, it has changed drastically. It's a completely different industry today than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's mainly down to a lot of people stealing music, copying, music illegally, and taking away budgets and money from the musicians and from record companies, labels, management companies, everybody else. So that's how it has changed. There's simply not as much money there as there was 10, 20 years ago, and the money that can still be made is usually made by people who work very independently and are their own bosses, produce, write, sell their own music online mainly, and completely avoid the traditional way of going through record companies.
Career type advice would you have for musicians starting out?
My advice, as for any musician, is to be, of course, the best musician they can be. Be extremely efficient in on their own instrument and at what they do, but broaden their skill level. Become more independent by being not only a musician but also a writer, a producer, knowing about engineering, producing, about sequencing software, about electronics, being able to read and being kind of usable in more situations than just a simple local gig playing situation. And my advice is to, as a drummer, for example, learn to play other instruments as well, learn to write, produce, understand recording processes, and not just have the drum kit in the van to get to the gig, but also, learn about what other musicians do, how to produce music, how to sell music, how to record it, how to distribute it, and be a little more involved on the business side of things in order to be potentially independent if you're out of work. If there is not a gig or an employer out there for you at the moment, you still want to be able to work and do your thing. So if you write and produce your own music, you're never out of a job, basically. So that's, I think, today an important thing to know, that you can still, as a musician, work and play and do your thing independently, I think that's an important thing to keep in mind when you grow up to become a musician, to broaden your skill level a little and to branch out in different areas of this industry, not just simply playing an instrument. It's a very time-consuming process to do both, of course, but I try to strike a balance. I spend at least as much time writing and producing music as I do playing music. It's, if not more. The playing has become, it's still the most important factor of what I do and the most important component, but it has almost taken a backseat to kind of writing and producing music and collaborating with other musicians in the writing process. And it's you have to, it's a fine line between, or you have to find the right balance, of course, like between writing, producing, and playing. You also want to be out there playing your own music and playing with other people, to keep your inspiration going and get kind of that feedback from other musicians, etc., and performing, of course, with other artists. And I try to have sort of a 50-50 balance of doing my own thing and working with bands. Very involved. I am there for every single step of everything that I do, including layouts, graphic designs, distribution processes, pricing of products, everything. I'm involved, and I try to be on every level to really create a great product, whatever it is that I do, a CD, a book, or a DVD, whatever it is, and at the same time have fair pricing and have something that really appeals to an audience. I released my latest DVD in November last year, I believe it was. It's called Creative Coordination and Advanced Foot Techniques. It's available through Hudson Music, distributed by Hal Leonard worldwide, and it is a 7.5 hour monster DVD package of 21st century high-end drumming concepts, basically. It's full of, I think, quite unique exercises and ideas for drummers to work on their contemporary coordination sort of skills, and to understand how to approach high-end contemporary drumming in a very efficient way, and how to practice it in an efficient way, to save time practicing basically, and to be efficient and creative while you're practicing. That's what it's all about.